So one of the interesting things that we have to deal with right now is that the powers that be in the industry, in the computer industry, are, with the exception of Apple, in their weakest position in a very, very long time. I mean, Microsoft's lost half its addressable market.
I don't think that's true. I just think you have new powers. If, you know, Microsoft's not a power in our industry. Nobody cares about Microsoft.
I'd say Microsoft's no longer
over 10 years,
agenda.
Microsoft's stock price is flatter than this stage.
The reason why Microsoft's decline is so powerful is it can finance everything else.
Yeah, but what have they gotten for their money is the question, you know, and I think Microsoft, you know, forgive me for maybe going out on a limb here, but I don't know if anybody here is from Microsoft, so like apologies in advance, but you know, from where I sit, it's a company that's at least been behind almost every shift in technology and software for at least 15 years, late onto the web, late into advertising supported software, late into search, late into the cloud, you know, late into all these things. And you go look at the company, and here's a company that, you know, despite its kind of radical origins, ended up being just one more Fortune 500 company with one guy as the chief software architect whose mental model was based on PCs, industrial customer, and licensing fees. And, you know, and all of the newcomers, you know, the companies you're quoting here that are at the front of social technology, almost every single one of them is a startup.
And because they held on to the monopoly position, the PC, that's what maintained their franchise. Otherwise, they would have been gone long ago.
Of course. What I'm really trying to get at, though, is if you look around today, one of the things that I find fascinating is you have a bunch of companies like Microsoft who still have tons of capital, tons of good people. They've just bought Skype. They have things that they can do today. It's a level playing field. If you're Google, you have to play against a level playing field. You no longer have the choke point of index search across the whole market. And so to me, one of the things that gives me great optimism is that there are more degrees of freedom, not just for startups, but for established companies. I mean, whether it's, you know, Forbes, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, it's better to be a publisher today than it was 2 years ago. And it'll be way better 5 years from now if the technology, if they take good advantage of the technology.
But Roger, I would argue it's only a level playing field if you have an organization where the power to set strategy, the power to set direction, the power to experiment is highly distributed, because otherwise you have a group of people at the top who don't write off their intellectual capital. You can have all the resources. I mean, the reason the incumbents don't win is not because they don't have resources, it's because they've concentrated that authority for strategy direction at the top. Those people are locked in old mental models, and the organization is held hostage to their willingness to change. So you're absolutely right, they have that possibility, but whether they can do it or not depends on, you know, radical redistribution, I think, of authority and power.